When you think about sin, what comes to mind? Do you automatically get flooded with all of these thoughts like, well, sin is the seven deadly sins, right? Or maybe it's like murder or cheating or stealing or having an affair, right? What comes to mind when you think about sin? More specifically, what comes to mind when you think about sin and God? Maybe the Ten Commandments come to mind, honoring your father and mother, have no other gods before him, love your neighbor as yourself, right? All these different things. What are the different things that define sin for you? There is no direct definition in the Bible, but I think the closest comes to, we find it in James. And it goes like this: anyone who knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it sins. So that can include a lot of things, right? And the Bible actually lists a ton of things, from gossiping and immoral thoughts to lust to drunkenness and anger, right? Gossip, all these things. It talks about not just these things that we would classify as really big sins like murder or rape, but it includes a lot of things that are secretive, like in your mind, the things that you think about too. And so I want to dive in a little bit to talk about sin, because so often we're like, oh, we shouldn't sin, but it's kind of a catch-all phrase, right? So what is it? Sin is like a cancer to the soul. It's like, imagine you have you're sitting on this beach at the most beautiful, pristine, white sandy beach with beautiful clear water, right? Maybe it's a lake, maybe it's the ocean, I don't know. And you're just admiring it. And then all of a sudden you see this guy walk down. He doesn't see you, he doesn't notice you. And he's standing there and he's admiring it, and you think, oh wow, yeah, he's doing the same thing I am. But you see this guy is drinking a soda. And so, he's drinking a soda. And then all of a sudden he decides that he is going to throw his soda can into this beautiful, clean lake. And you're looking at him and you're like, what? Why did he do that? He just totally ruined it. Why would he throw that can into this beautiful lake? So you start to yell after him, hey, get your can. But then you notice another guy. This guy, he takes off. You can't catch him, and you're like, oh, I'll go fish it out. But then all of a sudden you see someone else, and they're walking down to the shore, but they have this like black bag. And they get to the shore, and they start literally dumping all of their garbage into this lake. And now you're just angry. You're thinking to yourself, why would you ruin something so beautiful, something so gorgeous? Like, this is just so wrong. And we're like that, aren't we? We think we want justice for the person that gets murdered, and we want justice for the person that steals, and we want justice for the person that runs somebody over, or the racist. We want justice. But what about all those little sins that we classify as little? Are they any different? They're still, there's still pollution, right? It's still the can that was thrown into the lake. There isn't a difference between the one can and the whole bag of garbage. Yes, there's a bigger impact, but it's still the same thing. Sin is like a cancer to the soul. It doesn't matter if you have a few, cancer cells, or you have a whole body full, you still have cancer. It's like a poison that it contaminates your life. It spreads darkness into every aspect of your life. It breaks apart everything good and beautiful, and it separates you from the light. And this is particularly bad because God is light. And as you walk into a very dark room, or maybe you're in a dark room, and what do? You turn on the light. You can't see in the darkness. You can't function in the darkness. And when the light comes, it chases away all the darkness, and you can see everything in the room. God is that light. And we want him to be a God of justice, and we want him to condemn the people that are really bad. And we can name quite a few, right? You can look around the world, you can look in history. But the reality is how are we any different? And we like to justify ourselves, well, I'm not as bad as that person, right? But the problem is we still have darkness in our soul. It's still something that is connected to us. And God says that there is no one that has ever not sinned except for Jesus. And so if we all fall short of the glory of God, if we are all separated from him, we are all destined for the same outcome. Because you see, God is light, and he will drive away the darkness, because that is his nature. And he is a God of justice. And so he can't overlook darkness. He has to get rid of it. He has to remove it. He's like the person sitting on the beach who goes down and cleans up all the messes. He's the one that takes out the can, and he takes out all that garbage that other person dumped in, and he removes all of it and purifies the lake. But the problem is that, we try to purge the darkness in us, right? We run from it, or, we deny it. We try to be moral, and we try to justify our sin, right? We try to say, oh, well, at least I'm not, doing what that guy's doing. And or maybe we're trying to drink it away or find some addiction to overcome it. No matter what we do, we can't purge the darkness because it's tethered to our soul. There's only one way to get rid of the darkness, and that's Jesus. And next week, we're going to talk about Jesus. But for today, I want you to think about the sin in your own life. Can you look at your life objectively? Have you gossiped? Have you honored your parents all the time? Have you ever used the Lord's name in vain? Have you ever lusted after someone? Have you ever hated somebody or been so angry at someone? Have you been bitter, or have you held a grudge? Have you not forgiven somebody? I mean, this doesn't even include, cheating and stealing and extreme hatred and all these different things. It doesn't include murder. It doesn't include some of these horrible things that we think are worse. But darkness is darkness. And we have darkness tethered to our souls. We have cancer in our soul. And we need to be cured. And no matter what we do, we can't cure ourselves. We've tried. And this is where God is not only light, who drives away the darkness, and he empties our lives of the darkness, and he takes it out, and he removes it, and he makes us clean, and he purifies us. And he does all this out of love and out of his nature of light and justice. And so this week, I want you to think about the darkness in your soul. Is it a speck? Is it black? You think of the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, right? His heart was, 3 sizes too small, or whatever. And, it was all dark and black. And is your heart like that? Is your soul like that? Because there's only one way to cleanse it. You need the light. But only God is light. And he's the only one that can drive it away. And he's the only one that can remove it. He's the only one that can purge us from it and make us new and whole, like he created us to be in relationship and light with him. And you look at sin also, it just, side note, it breaks things apart. You think of a relationship maybe you have, and think about some sin that's happened in that relationship. Is the relationship healthy? Is it stronger? Is it better? Or is it broken? Is it a mess? This is what sin does. It makes messes. And yes, I believe in a devil, and I believe that he is the tempter, and he tempts us into sin, but he is not causing the sin. We give him permission in our lives when we go ahead and agree to the temptation, when we let it take root, when we let it flood our soul, and then we act it out, right? And so this week, I want you to look at the sin in your life. And I don't want you to just look at it as like, a bunch of rules that you're supposed to do that to have a right relationship with God. Because it's not about rules, it's about removing cancer from the soul. It's about removing darkness. So I want you to take some time, and I want you to look at your life, and I want you to look at your sin, or ask God to reveal the sin to you, and ask him to take away the darkness, to cleanse you, to make you whole, to bring you into the light so that you can have a right relationship with God. But then you also get to shine into other people's lives and show them they don't have to live in the darkness anymore. So I don't know where you're at, and I don't know what sin you have going on in your life, but I know that there is no one that walks this earth that is not contaminated by sin in some way, shape, or form. And each one of us needs God to drive away the darkness and to remove all the sin. And he does that through Jesus. And so my prayer for you this week, my hope, is that you will look at the sin in your life and ask God to remove it, reveal it, and remove it. Thank you.